It's in the headlines, it's in the hands of lawmakers, it's in the editorials, and in the letters to the editor, and John Barley is upset. Quote, "It has gotten to the point where innuendo has become fact. Facts have been misused to create false impressions and misunderstandings now dominate public opinion." But Senator Noah Wanger said, "There are no startling revelations. There really is nothing new there." Barley claims that farming is on trial in this video, that he must now defend the farm that, in his own words, he and his family built from nothing. Well, Mr. Barley, $28 million that you've received in public funding is not nothing. This is the video that reminds us of the issues we cannot forget and of the candidate we cannot support. At the end of this 15-minute video is information on how you can support the efforts of CleanHousePack.com.
The future, about our future here in Pennsylvania.
I think it's very important when you elect an individual that you elect someone who has integrity, that can delineate between what's right and what's wrong, and doesn't try to get up close to the edge, but actually tries to stay away from the edge.
The Lancaster Sunday News, the largest circulation paper in Lancaster County, has editorialized that, quote, "What happened in Manor is gerrymandering at its most outrageous," unquote. When we realized the depth of corruption and the extent to which our officials were self-serving, we experienced a variety of reactions: anger, disbelief, sorrow, and rage.
How can the district that has the highest opposition to a particular candidate be removed except for one voting district where the candidate who's running happens to live? This is not manipulation. This is not improper use of power. Of course it is. It's so obvious. You can't, who can deny it? And yet, it's being denied.
Most of us are aware that State Representative John E. Barley has enriched his personal finances with a variety of government contracts. First, as a state representative, John Barley has earned a total of $1,019,384 in salary. That averages to about $54,000 each year. John has also received $28,169,571 through government contracts. This represents nearly $1.5 million each year, or 27 times his income. Mr. Barley has received $937,173, $6,856,064, $513,593, $17,240,000, $1,660,741, $962,000, for a total of $28,169,571. Clearly, John Barley has crossed the line between right and wrong, and he has corrupted the original intent of his public office. In last November's election, Manor's outrage resulted in widespread grassroots efforts. What did John Barley do to cause such an outcry from his neighbors? The reason was the landfill. Mr. Barley secretly orchestrated the rezoning of his farmland in order to sell it out as a landfill. He got an unheard of $45,700 an acre. And who pays for these outrageous amounts? We do, the taxpayers. In this landfill deal, Barley proposed the condemning of his neighbors' properties and did it all behind closed doors with the help of Manor officials, including his own campaign chairman, Ed Goodhart, and his own son, Robert Barley. Not only were the sunshine laws violated, but Barley's longtime neighbors felt deeply betrayed.
What, the end of August, beginning of September, he was here and we agreed to go in campaign pictures with him. He never told us then.
During the same week that the Stamens were posing to help John with his campaign brochure, John Barley was secretly negotiating the condemning and sale of their home as a trash dump.
No, I told you I thought they were our friends. He even plowed my garden one spring. Never said a word. I can't believe it. He knew this since '99.
John Barley's style of doing business goes way beyond politics. Consider how he treated the widow Balmer.
When Mr. Barley and I talked the day before the sheriff's sale, he claimed he didn't know anything about my financial situation. They bought the farms on the sheriff's sale. I spoke to him. 19 days after sheriff's sale, they resold the farm, both of the farms, to two different buyers, taking in over $500,000, near $600,000 profits. He is reaping the harvest that I've worked for 34 years. Do not use them for your own gain or benefit, or I will take you from this world, and your wife and children will be then. Those are strong statements, Old Testament. There's only one day ever been worse in my life than this one. That was the day my dear hubby died.
He can break the rules as he goes, and if you find him wrong in something, then what is going to happen to that is that something will be changed, because the fast and loose policy of John Barley is going to change it. And that's what we are really holding John Barley in contempt for.
John Barley piled sludge up by the woods, and the smell was horrible. I don't see how people could stand it, because there was huge piles of it up by the woods. When they wanted to bring the sludge in from New York, why, he was one of the big instigators in helping to get the sludge from New York brought into our states, and he uses the laws to benefit his own self.
That kind of record, we're proud of it, and we want to make sure that we maintain.
If a person in the legislature writes a law, they obviously should not take part in getting large amounts of taxpayers' money because they wrote it in a way that they are favored. That's what's happening.
Every time that we have someone who doesn't measure up to that character, it brings the integrity of the House itself down. No wonder we have the great disparity in trying to create the incentive for people to come out and vote. Because then they look at all politicians as corrupt. And we're not all corrupt. Unfortunately, there are some that are. That's why we need to have men and women of character and integrity that will serve our Commonwealth and who have a great sense of what public service is all about.
Right now, Salisbury is ahead of Lehman by 81 votes.
Votergate shows how John Barley conceived, financed, and orchestrated a scheme which he later denied in the Sunday News by saying, "I'm not involved in it," and then allowed Chet Byler to take the heat for his actions. John Barley did more than hurt the reputation of the GOP with Votergate. He revealed himself as both a coward and a liar. To his credit, Chet Byler took full responsibility for Votergate. And because the GOP committee people knew of John Barley's involvement, despite his denials, they gave Chet a vote of confidence to remain as the GOP chairman. Just like with Votergate, not all of John Barley's attempts to fool the public work. In November of 2000, John Barley devised yet another scheme to fool the voting public and the voters in the 37th District. John Barley was doing everything that he could to get Kevin Harley elected as the new state rep from the 37th District. When late polling data showed that the eventual winner, Tom Crichton, was ahead phone calls were made by the Kevin Harley campaign, which contained lies about Tom Crichton. So what did John Barley do when he discovered that this consultant spread thousands of slanderous lies through phone calls? He waited a few months and then hired this same man as the executive director of the House Republican Caucus Committee. Conclusion: lie for John Barley, and you will be rewarded.
When it comes to morals, ethics, legalities, I feel that John Barley is the most arrogant, lying, cheating politician that I personally have ever known. And if we don't get people like John Barley out of office, we're all going to continue to suffer. We need to wake up, we need to vote, we need to get our government back and make our GOP what it used to be.
The damaged reputation of the GOP has the potential of losing the 100th seat to the Democrats. It has happened before. In Chester County, a 5-term GOP incumbent, Timothy Slack, lost his seat in 1970 to Democrat Sam Mars due to Slack's tainted reputation. Even though the district was predominantly Republican, the Democrats served until 1990. The GOP has the responsibility of putting forward good candidates and not a corrupt incumbent, or it runs the risk of losing a seat. If a district is 65% Republican and 35% Democrat, it takes only 23% of those Republicans to vote for the Democrat to lose the seat. Considering John Barley's record, does he have the support of 77% of the Republicans? Manor said no. Polling data of the new 100th also says no.
John Barley does not have the strength of character, the integrity, or the high moral or ethical standards required of someone who holds public office. He should be removed.
They all lived in the River Hills. Anna, John, Conrad, Mary, Caroline, Benjamin, and 20 others. They played, cried, lived, and died in those exact same hills. They were laid to rest on a peaceful hill overlooking the Susquehanna River between the years of 1806 and 1867, across from what is now the John E. Barley home. While writing legislation to prevent the desecration of cemeteries, John Barley farms over the top of 26 graves on his Star Rock property. The common headstone memorializing the 26 people can be seen behind Barley's home church. There is no nation on earth powerful enough to accomplish our overthrow. Our destruction, should it ever come at all, will be from the inattention of the people to the concerns of their government, from their carelessness and negligence. John E. Barley defines corruption in politics with his campaign war chest of over $400,000 and his shrewd tactics. Beating him at his own game will be an extremely difficult task, but it can be done, and it must be done. The goal of CleanHousePack.com is to place a copy of this tape, The Politics of John Barley, into every household in the new 100th. Join in the fight. Help retire John Barley from public life. Please make your check payable to CleanHousePack.com. Your contribution of just $20 will pay for a tape for yourself and help send a tape to a household in the new 100. Please make your checks payable to CleanHousePack.com. P.O. Box 8602, Lancaster, Pennsylvania 17604-8602. Thank you for your support.